Hello everybody and welcome to this video, a short video today looking at a couple of new tables that have been added to Pinball FX 3 by Zen Studios. These ones are based on Star Wars The Last Jedi, making, I think there's about a dozen now tables that are based on Star Wars properties, and obviously Star Wars The Last Jedi is the most recent film, so it makes sense that Zen Studios would want to pull together some licensed tables to go with it. There are two tables that have been released. This is one that you're seeing right in front of you right now, and this video will take you through the two of them, one of which I'm not a huge fan of from my first impressions, the other one I really love, and I have to emphasize this is very much a first impressions kind of video. These are the first times what you're seeing on the footage is the first time that I've actually played each table. So this one in particular I'm not very good at, and I kind of mess up a lot, and I don't get to see anywhere near everything that the table will offer. The other one I get to see a little bit more because I did a bit better with it, but you know, so this one's quite interesting. This is the one I'm not a huge fan of at the moment. I don't know whether it's just because I haven't been able to get a good run going and get a good score happening or not. But yeah, it seems a bit dull by Zen Studios' standards. One of the things that I guess the most notable feature is obviously the back half of the table. There are a lot of flippers up there. There are 5, you can count them right there. There are 5 different flippers to hit the particular ramps at the very back of the map, the table. So I guess the goal for this table will be, and the really big scores for it will be in being able to get the ball to the very back and then really knock it around whatever's back there. And I imagine the missions that the game throws at you for those really top premium scores will also make heavy use of what's going on back there. But yeah, the foreground of the table is not particularly interesting. I don't find the actual aesthetics of the table particularly appealing. It's obviously got the Star Wars faceplate on the bottom, and it's got Star Wars stuff happening in the background, and there's Rey and BB-8, and I do love BB-8, so it's unfortunate he's not on a table I like that much. But yeah, it doesn't really sing Star Wars. It certainly doesn't feel like The Last Jedi to me, and I'm not a huge fan of this one, I must admit, at this stage. But the other one, this one, is really good table. Like, it's a killer of a table, and I mean it's obviously too early to say it'll be in my top table list of all time or anything like that, but I've certainly found myself really addicted to this one right from the outset. It's obviously based on the island that Rey spent a bit of time in Star Wars The Last Jedi, and where she learnt her Jedi powers, and she met Luke Skywalker, and all that kind of stuff happened. It's you know, Yoda throws in an appearance, and it was a really pivotal part of the film, so they've captured that quite nicely in this table. One of the things that I really enjoyed about this table is the actual music. Most of the Zen Studios tables tend to be quite active music, quite busy, quite loud, quite arcade kind of environment style music to go with the pinball aesthetic, but this one's much more subtle. This one has a more gentle soundtrack. It has a sense of serenity about it, which is not what I would have ever expected from a pinball table. And yeah, it's really immersive in being so different to, you know, what most other Zen Studios tables are like. The actual design of the table is really impressive as well. As you can see, it's quite open, and the first thing I was immediately reminded of was actually the Jaws table, which came out a couple of months ago also by Zen Studios, obviously also on Pinball FX 3. But yeah, Jaws also had that sense of openness about it, and despite that openness, there was an awful lot you could do on the table, and that certainly seems to be the case with this one as well. There's an awful lot going on, and actually being able to hit the right spots to activate things and get good scores going is a challenge, because if you're just knocking the ball around without really having any direction to it, you're not going to get many points, because there's just not much going on in the table. There's also that whirly thing at the back, which I really like as a technique. It does a good job in in adding an element of randomness to the way the ball moves, because it's very easy to hit the ball up there and the ball will always come out at slightly different angles. You just saw it there. The ball came out and ended up going into the gutter because I didn't really predict where it was going to move from there well enough. So that's one of the things I love about real world pinball, is that there is that slight element of randomness to it, where the nature of physics means that sometimes the ball isn't going to behave as you would have expected. Even with the most carefully designed pinball table in the real world, there are slight things that might go wrong. The ball might slightly bounce, or something might happen that just throws a bit of unpredictability into it, and video game pinball tables don't tend to do that. They tend to be much more reliable and predictable, which makes it, I guess, fairer as a game. And certainly when you're talking about video games with online leaderboards, you need it to be fair, but it loses a little bit of the essence of pinball in the process. But this whirly thing there actually adds that back into it, and I really like that. And it uses that whirly thing in the missions. I'm actually in the process of doing a mission right here where you need to, hit the ball into those where there's flashing lines and things, and you'll see R2-D2 pop up there shortly, which is great. And that's the other thing I really love about this table. It is, unlike the last one, it immediately felt very Star Wars to me, and continued to feel Star Wars the more I was playing it. There you go. R2-D2 throws in an appearance. The new Star Wars mascot, I guess, the Porgs. The Porgs are all over the place, and who doesn't love Porgs? Those little monster penguin things, they're great. And it's just it's a really well designed table. It shows Zen Studios at its strength in terms of being able to use both what pinball is about in the real world, using the actual design of pinball tables, using features that are actually found in in real world pinball machines, but adding a bit of video game to it. And certainly the license helps, and this is definitely, on its own, this one's worth picking up the pack of new tables. So if you're a fan of pinball, get back into it, because this will last you a long time. Thanks very much for watching the video, and we will see you at the next one, of course.